So there I am looking up at him and thinking, oh my god, am I about to kiss number 69? Am I about to kiss my 69th person? I'm torn. I can't decide if I want to or not, but then I think, you know what, he's cute. And he's American. And then he looks down at me and there's this little tiny pause where you know what he's about to do and I just can't decide. Do I, don't I, do I, don't I? And then we kissed. Well, no, not quite. That's just the name of the podcast.
Julia and a guy sitting in a tree. Kissing.
Hello, hello. My name is Julia and you're listening to And Then We Kissed, a podcast on the funny, the confusing, and the unforgettable stories behind my kiss list. I'm joined again by Flo.
Hello, hello.
He's back again.
Back again. Glad to join you again.
For anyone who's new here, Flo's my best friend and had the privilege of seeing today's story play out firsthand. He was actually there when I first met the man we're talking about today, who's none other than number 69.
I'm so excited and I knew that this episode was coming.
I mean, we love number 69. You can already tell today is a very different story. So the last two episodes, you got to know my, horny desperate side. You know, the one that relentlessly swiped on dating apps just to get laid, but today I thought it would be time for you to finally get to know other nuances of my dating life. So strap in, because we're talking about a story about the kind of closeness that can exist without labels or expectations. And as always, we're not trying to make out anyone as a bad guy. There is no right or wrong, everyone makes mistakes, and we only have my side of the story and how I remember it. And we've also changed details to protect the privacy of everyone involved.
And we're using nicknames, of course.
We are. Do you want to do the honor, Flo, of telling everyone number 69's nickname?
Of course I want to. Great occasion, great dude. The name is Tall Order.
That it is. And I'll explain his nickname later.
Julia, what are we drinking today? Because, as always, we have a fun little drink.
Of course we do. We need one to discuss and debrief. I actually have one that fits... My god, fucking cold. It's so cold. I actually have one that fits my outfit because I'm wearing something pink. And it's like a pinkish can. I actually swiped it from Sophie. She gave it to me because I had something else. I didn't want to drink it. I'm drinking a canned pink Mai Tai. I have no idea what to expect. I didn't buy this.
I'm also drinking alcohol today because it's more of a fun episode today.
Yes.
Or at least it's a good episode with a good outcome. Good vibes, of course. So I just brought myself a beer. And I'm very certain that he would also, if he was here right now, he would be also enjoying a beer with me.
Yeah, he would.
So this is the only correct choice for today's episode.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you want to go first? There you go.
This sounded so clean, to be honest.
It did sound quite good. Okay, I'm going to do mine.
Wait, there you go. That sounded great.
Cheers!
Cheers!
To Tall Order.
So how is your drink?
It's fine.
Oh.
It tastes pretty good. I don't think I would buy it again, but I think for today it's good.
That sounds like a lot of your men, to be honest.
Yeah, it really does. Okay. Shall we dive into Tall Order?
Yeah, we should definitely go deeper into this matter.
Let's get into it. Let's set the scene. It's the beginning of Flo's and my friendship, essentially. And it's actually the very first night that him and I are going out.
Where we go out clubbing.
Yeah, when we went out clubbing to our now favorite club. I remember, so this club has these kind of like things that you can stand on. Obviously, the attention whores that we are, we had to actually stand on these little cubes and be above the other people. So the music is blasting through the speakers and it's fairly decent and we're having the time of our life. Also, Flo and I are quite drunk. We drank a lot of shots. We're having the time of our lives up there on those little boxes. You know, I look around and scan whoever is there and I see this tall, attractive guy, and when like the light hits in the right moment, I can see his face. And there's this thing that I have that I've noticed I can sense by people's faces. Hear me out on this.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. I can sense based on people's faces if they're German or American or like another nationality that I'm pretty familiar with. And I'm not saying like, oh, they look like they have, I don't know, Chinese heritage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have like certain facial expressions in a culture that moves your face differently, and so you get different wrinkles in your face. That's the best way I can explain this, and I've always been right about this, so I know I have this ability.
I kind of understand what you're trying to tell, but I'm just imagining all of these weird faces that I would be making or that I'm making.
No, I don't.
So you can tell that I'm like from Germany.
It's really minor. It's really minuscule. If we were to take a more extreme example, someone with maybe Chinese heritage, if they grew up in Germany, it doesn't really matter what their nationality is. That's not the point. If they grew up in Germany, they have a different face than if they would have grown up in China or in India or I don't know. Where it doesn't really matter.
I get what you're like trying to say.
They have
different. You can tell the culture they grew up with.
A little, yeah. If I'm familiar with the culture, that I can usually tell, or at least I can tell if they're like if they grew up in Germany. It's not if they're German or not, but if they grew up in Germany or not. And I saw Tall Order, and I thought, you are American. You are American. There's no way you're German.
Yeah, she said it.
I did.
She's an expert.
I love dating American men. There's something about it.
I have never really understood that, but maybe you want to dive.
Something about American dating culture is very different than the German dating culture. And I really, really appreciate it because they court more, they flirt more openly. Very rare in the German dating culture that you are so direct in your trying to get with someone.
With your intentions, probably, or about flirting.
Yeah, I think Americans kind of see what they like and then they heavily start flirting. And I think a German guy will see what they like and then they...
don't even try.
And if they try, it's really awkward. Generally speaking, I've met more Americans that are good at flirting than I've met Germans that are good at flirting.
Which is a very weird statement, to be honest, since you're not living in the USA.
Yes.
That's kind of a weird statement to say.
So there's another thing that people should know for anyone that doesn't live in the same hometown as I do, as we do. We do have a lot of American military bases that are fairly close, maybe an hour, 1.5 from our city. I've dated a few American soldiers, a couple of them over the years, some more, some less. So I do know my way around an American soldier.
Do I have to guess now the number? Because I don't even know the number, how many American soldiers you have dated.
That doesn't matter right now.
Oh, anyway, so you don't even know yourself.
Getting back to Tall Order.
10? More than 10?
So I'm standing on that box, I see him, and he is with 2 women, and I'm seeing him, and I'm like, okay, first of all, he looks really good, and second of all, he for sure is not German, he's American. But then I'm watching him, and it seems like he is singing along with the German songs. So I'm confused, because I'm always right on this. There's no way I'm wrong. But I digress. So he's German, who cares? He's with women anyway, and I thought for sure one of them is his girlfriend or so. Time is passing, Flo and I are having the time of our life, as I said, and then after a while I look back at him, and the women have gone. And I keep watching him, and it seems like the women also aren't coming back. Maybe it's been 20-25 minutes at that point or so. I pull out my phone, and I want to record Flo and me, and Tall Order suddenly sees me wanting to do this, and he reaches out his hand towards the phone and kind of does this nodding movement to indicate give me your phone, I'll film you. Now, should you give your phone to a random stranger in the club?
Yes, of course.
Probably
because
not.
He looks so good.
And I got really cute footage. It's really cute. He did a really good job.
He is the best.
He's the best.
He's the best.
So I give him my phone, he films us, he films the club, he passes back the phone. And then I don't know exactly what happened, but eventually the 3 of us started dancing. One thing that I really appreciated about him is I know a lot of guys that will, when they try to get with you, when they're flirting with you, they somehow ignore your friends that you are with. I also think that's a German thing, I will say. I don't necessarily think it's an American thing. Oh, mind you, at this point, I forgot to say he is American. I was right. I mean, that was gonna be quite clear, but still.
I mean, it was very obvious.
It seemed like he was pretending to sing along with the German songs, and also the 2 girls that he had met in the club. He told me later on that he literally had just met them at the club and then they vanished again at some point and they said goodbye to him. So he was out on his own. And the 3 of us started dancing, and one thing that I just really appreciated about him was that he didn't ignore Flo. Because especially Flo's and my friendship was in the early stages. It's not like now where I know what you're okay with and what not. I didn't really want you to feel like, oh, I'm being ignored, I'm being left out on a guy, now she's ditching me.
No, I mean, obviously you didn't know back then, but for me this of course isn't a problem, but it was very nice being kind of part of happening or whatever. Just enjoying the moment, enjoying the good time. And even though he was flirting, I didn't feel like I was completely cut off.
Yeah.
it was like extremely respectful towards me.
Yeah, and I really liked it. I mean, especially in the beginning, I was actually a little hesitant to consider that he might be flirting with me. But then at some point, Flo and I were not really feeling the club anymore, and we said, okay, come on, let's go to that like one Irish pub that's always open. And we asked him if he wanted to join, and he said yes. And so the three of us went on to an Irish pub.
I mean, we were like, all three of us were like very drunk. I mean, I think he also was quite drunk, but it didn't like came across like he was kind of even drinking. He could have had like one beer, or he could have like 10 drinks or something.
Yeah, he was like
there wasn't even like any problem.
A lot of joking, as if you guys had already been friends.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, like we had so much chemistry.
Yeah, you two should have gone off together.
But then we wouldn't be on this podcast right
True,
now.
We digress. Well, anyway, the conversation somehow turned towards like if he could carry me or not. And he was saying like, of course I can carry you. And I was like, no, I'm too heavy. That typical stupid girl shit.
This is like, oh my god, you have like so big hands. Let me touch your hands. It's like when girls do flirting.
But it always works. That's the issue.
Yeah.
It always works. And there is dating culture that we live in. There is a stupid focus, the male and female gender role, that the woman should be smaller and daintier than the man. So the man can feel strong or whatever, I don't know. So it does work when you point it out. So he was like, fuck off, of course I can carry you. And then he just threw me over his shoulders and started walking with me. And I was obsessed, unfortunately.
I don't even remember this part.
No, I remember so bad. Because I remember after that night, I told another friend of mine that he did that. And I was like so amazed. And I was like, oh my god, because usually people can't pick me up, whatever. Because I mean, obviously I'm more of a curvy girl, which is fine. And then my friend was like, no, I can pick you up as well. This is not a big deal. And then she just picked me up and started squatting me. And I was like, holy fuck. So I know for sure that Tall Order did that.
Okay, now I can remember. I can remember the moment where he did actually pick you up and carry you, because he made it like look so effortlessly.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize
that
how
had
smooth
happened.
it went.
It really was quite
like
smooth.
There was no struggle, no sweat.
Nothing.
10 drinks down
That's
the line.
That's what I'm saying with him. He's so in control.
Yeah, he's always in control.
Always in control.
He's like always like laid back and chill, but also like down for like
open
jokes.
Anyway,
there's so many
fans.
positive words
big
we can
fans.
say about him. To be honest,
we're big fans. So we go to the Irish pub. I mean, I think he carried me there half the way, and then we go to the Irish pub and he gets our drinks and we kind of just sit down. And we've already said like the jokes were flowing and everything, and it just felt like really normal sitting there with them, which was really nice. And then I think the first tube was about to go around like 5 a.m. and Flo really wanted to go home. I mean, call it an early night, I guess. So Tall Order and I brought him to a tube station and we put him in the tube. And now at this point, it's really important to say that the weeks leading up to that night, I had not kissed anyone, even though I had multiple opportunities. And the reason for that is because I knew that the next person I would kiss would be number 69. And the thing is, I know that we talk a lot about like the numbers that each guy has. I know I have this kiss list, but it really started out as me just documenting because I forget so easily. And I just started numbering them because it's a list. I don't know, it just felt appropriate. The numbers were never a big thing.
Lists are always something good, I think. I really like having lists.
Yeah, and it really never started off as this like obsession with the numbers, and I would still say that I'm not like massively obsessed with the numbers. It's rather that most of the time I don't care as much. Just sometimes I like it.
And number 69.
Yeah, sometimes
guys, everyone
like it.
does know. Number 69 is just special.
If it's a special number, I want it to be a special person or like a special story or like something about it has to be special. And that was the very first time that I knew ahead of time that the next number was going to be special. I've had other special numbers. I didn't really think much of it back then, but that was the very first time. And so I had multiple opportunities to kiss people in the club or whatever. And I didn't because I was just thinking, you are not worthy being number 69, unfortunately. You are just not. I also know that I was dating a guy at the time and I did not want to kiss him. I actually said to him, I don't want to kiss you because unfortunately the next number is 69. I don't know if I want you to be 69 because also we were dating in a slightly more serious way.
Like
with the doctor.
you're getting like cock blocked by the number 69.
For real.
What a feeling this must be. And you think I'm pretty sure the other guy would think, damn, women these days. Gone crazy, but it's not women, it's just you.
no one is safe of my tendencies. So I'm standing there like Tolor and I are getting out of the tube station, and in that moment I knew, okay, he wanted to kiss me. Like I knew in that moment we were flirting, because before that I was still fairly new in the flirting game. I was more getting into it. I was better at it, but I still wasn't a pro at it. I have dated a lot of American soldiers. I've always met them off dating apps, and that was the very first time that I met an American soldier in person that then like something happened. With the entire way that he was like talking with Flo and like integrating himself into our like little group here, I really wasn't sure if he was flirting with me or not. So in that moment, I could kind of sense, okay, this guy wants to kiss me, like he is actually flirting with me. And it's that moment, right? I'm looking up at him, he's looking down at me, and I'm just thinking, do I want to kiss this man? Because he will be number 69, and I was tired and I was drunk. I just remembered like the night with him was so fun. And he looked so cute. And I did think in that moment, well, he is an American soldier, and if anyone is going to be number 69, it has to be an American soldier.
It had to be.
And then we kissed. To go back to my place because we were both quite tired. He did have a hotel, but I was like, listen, they have like checkout early in the morning. I don't want to sleep in a hotel. We get to my place, and you know, we're chit-chatting and we're making out, and I think then eventually we just fall asleep, and then around 9 a.m. or so someone calls him and he kisses me goodbye and he leaves, and we already exchanged numbers. And in that moment I was confused why the fuck he would get up that early. Yeah, and I was just really happy that I could have I could have someone to cuddle with, being like at night, go home with, but then be alone in the morning. I really like my mornings alone. I don't need someone there. It was really best of both worlds for me, I will say.
Just, you know, having a lot of me time in the morning, just for yourself, getting ready, waking up.
Fuck yeah. That's that shit.
But for the night, someone to cuddle?
Yeah.
Of course.
Hell yeah.
Of course.
Especially if you go home from a club. That's all I want.
That's all you want. That's all, like,
all we
a
want.
lot of people want that
yeah.
actually go to club, I guess.
So we texted a little bit following those days, and it was really nice, you know, but both of us aren't big texters. It eventually turned into this thing where if he was in town and he was going out, he would text me, and vice versa. If I was going out, I would text him. But it really didn't coincide a lot that we wanted to go out on the same nights. Also, he's a quite busy person. I think he has a lot of responsibility at work, it seems like. I'm not entirely sure. And he was working a lot. But then I think at one point, you and I went out with Sophie, and we just ran into him in our favorite club.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And then I pulled you guys aside, and I was like, are you fine if Tall Order joins us? And you were like, yeah, sure, whatever. Because at that point, we didn't have a lot of contact with him yet, so we didn't know the ins and outs. But Flo remembered him, and he liked him. And so Tall Order joined us, but I think that night I did tell him that he couldn't stay over at my place simply because I did not want him to, and he was fine with that. Then there was another time where the stars aligned, where he just randomly texted me at like 8 p.m. if I was going out that night. I mean, which is what we had been doing at that point, right? In these like months that had passed since the first time. And I was like, yeah, we actually are. And we were going out in a bigger group, the three of us, with like other friends of mine. And I asked you guys again, and you said, hell yeah, let him join, because you remembered him. And so he joined. And like one thing that is always so cool with Tall Order is that he's there and he's a fun time and he integrates everyone and he makes sure everyone is okay. He's not just looking out for me.
Yeah, definitely. You can feel that he's looking over basically everyone that is involved into this group.
Yeah.
He just makes sure like everyone is fine and nobody gets kind of left behind.
Yeah.
That's like one of his best attributes, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
Because everyone kind of feels seen and safe around him.
Yeah.
At least I do. I mean, I can't like speak for anyone else. But for me personally, I think that's one of his best attitudes too.
It really is. And that's just something I really appreciate about him. And then I took him home again, of course, and we made out again, went to sleep, cuddled. He's an amazing cuddler, by the way. And then he would sneak out again at 9 a.m. because the man is busy, the man has to work. God knows how the fuck he's working on a Sunday with like 3 hours of sleep, but that's his thing.
That's his thing.
I don't know how the fuck he does it.
Also, I did the first time we went with him to the Irish club.
The Irish pub or the club?
The Irish pub.
Yeah.
Sorry. He actually paid for my drink.
Yeah, he did.
He did pay for my drink and he said it is completely fine. And then when we randomly met again,
yeah,
I actually had the chance to repay him and,
Yeah.
spend some money for his drink.
I did actually text him after our first encounter. I texted him on the next day and I was like, hey, how much do we owe you for the drinks? And he said, no, it's fine. It's on like whatever. And I remember that was like all of the times that we went to the club with him, he would get a lot of the shots and everything. He would pay for a lot. I know that you bought him a drink once, but I also know that he paid for a lot. But so anyway, months go by again. We're still like texting each other back and forth when we're out. I know at one point I texted him if he wanted to go out. He was like, no, he can't because he had already like started drinking, but like he can't drive to our hometown. But if I wanted to, I could come over to his place. And he texted me his address, but unfortunately I couldn't. There were other plans as well. I think at one point he might have invited me to a barbecue, but I'm not entirely certain about that anymore. There were like all kinds of like both of us trying to reach out to each other. I was mostly the one initiating the conversation, but he was always reciprocating and always like trying to see me as well. But both of us were quite busy just.
Sometimes you just forget because you're like so busy.
Yeah.
With your like work and other stuff that like
dating.
That you just like forget to text back or just check in on people. But you like always, of course, responding. And that like also happens to me a lot when like people that I don't have like frequently contact with, when they just like text me because I kind of forgot to like text them for like 2 or 3 weeks or something.
Yeah. I
just was like, oh my God, I actually forgot to text you because I wanted to check in on you, but I like didn't really find the time to do it. Sometimes you just forget, and I think it's the same for him because he's like so occupied with his work.
And I think also for a good chunk of us like knowing each other, I was not nearly as busy as he was, so I was initiating a lot just because I had a lot more headspace. But then maybe in the second half since then or so, I've been also pretty busy, and so definitely the texting has gone down and me initiating, but still there were still like times where both of us tried a lot of it. And somehow in that time, Sophie and Flo started putting Tall Order on a pedestal. And suddenly every single guy that I was bringing home or talking about simply did not compare to Tall Order. All of them were being compared to Tall Order and no one compared to Tall Order.
At this point, I want to highlight that not all the other men were like that terrible or that bad. But he was just as good. So I mean, the other men in question are actually questionable.
Not all of them, though.
But not
That's
all
the
of
thing.
them. But I feel like none of them were like that respectful or something.
I think there was a certain period of time where I unfortunately didn't have the best luck, and there were a lot of bad stories.
I mean,
one of them was Himbro, and you guys have heard of him. And yeah, I think in comparison to them especially. Also, fun fact actually, the way Himbro took up one end of the extreme, right? Where like no one compares to Himbro, no one will ever be as bad as him again. But then Tall Order took up the other end of the spectrum, which is no one will ever be as good as Tall Order. Tall Order has actually been named proudly by Sophie and Flo the GOAT.
He is, at least as long as I have known you, I think he's the best guy that you have dated. Or
I think for casual things, yes.
Probably not even dated, but just slept with.
Well, at this point in the story, we haven't actually slept with each other.
Oh, so I did kind of spoiler it, but...
Well, yeah, I mean,
it was like kind of...
implied.
It was implied it was going to happen.
I wouldn't necessarily say that he's the best guy that I've dated since you and I've met, but I will say that he's one of the better ones, and especially in a casual context, there was never any drama, which is really nice. And I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of things, boundaries or expectations were quite clear from the beginning.
Not necessarily. I just think that he's a pretty chill guy. Don't think that we necessarily communicated everything to a T. I just think that it aligned.
Yeah, it kind of...
like what we wanted. Yeah. That's more the thing. And also, he has a good personality. He's very attentive towards pretty much anyone. He's a really nice guy towards anyone. And I think that's why he became, the GOAT, essentially. And I remember that, like, so many nights when Sophie, Flo, and I were, like, hanging out, at one point or another, they would start screaming for me to invite Tall Order. And I did a lot of the times, but he couldn't always join. But then one night, we were having a game night at Sophie's and mine place, and I texted Tall Order on the big screaming and shouting based from Flo and Sophie, "Bring back Tall Order!
Bring him back!"
And he actually had time. And he came over. Sophie and Flo were excited as hell.
We were so excited and so happy that he was actually going to join us.
I was happy too. I do like him.
Oh yeah, you did actually. Yeah, so it would make sense that you were like also quite excited for it.
Yeah, so he joined, and as always, it was a really fun time. Attentive, joking, caring, right? Not the star of the show, but still leaning back, like in a good way. Just, I don't know how to explain it. Just a really good vibe as always.
It's like when you're like around someone, and like this person just makes you feel comfortable, safe.
Yeah,
I think this is just the vibe you get off, and it's not even like you don't even have to talk to him to just get this vibe off.
Oh yeah, for sure. He does really just kind of express that energy, I will say.
Yeah, this energy, this vibe.
So at some point the game night kind of comes to a close, and him and I go back to my room, and I mean, we already spoiled.
Things to do.
We did the thing.
In your room.
We had sex.
Oh my god.
Spoiler alert. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the sex wasn't that great. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't good for me. It's not that he was being selfish or whatever, I just don't think that we kind of harmonized that way together that night. I was just missing some sort of passion. Maybe he does sex differently than I do, I don't know.
Well, Rome wasn't built in one day, you know?
And now we get to the next point that I was gonna say before you continue. Well, anyway, we cuddled again, and it was really nice, and then he stayed over, of course, and then as always he snuck out at like 9 or 10 a.m. Still don't know how the fuck he does it, but happy to have my mornings for myself. Since then there have been attempts to see each other, but just life kept getting in the way, and especially pretty soon after that meetup I was a little hesitant to see him again, because I did want to see him again, but I didn't know if I necessarily wanted to sleep with him again, and I was putting pressure on myself that I would have to. And I don't necessarily think that that came from him, because I really do think that he's a pretty laissez-faire guy, right? I really just think that he's the kind of guy that is just happy with any intimacy that I'm willing to partake in. I think the pressure came from myself, because it really does feel like with a lot of guys that if you have any sort of closeness, any sort of intimacy, that involves sex. And I think now looking back, I think he would want to sleep with me, but I also think that he would just be happy just to like hang out, cuddle, make out, go clubbing, and partake in like other forms of intimacy.
I feel like as a woman, I guess it's the pressure you put on yourself, having to have to sleep with someone, or like just being intimate. I mean, as a guy, I just don't have this basically. It's just like different for me. Sometimes I'm like, if we're gonna have sex on after like a date or something, I had like this pressure to like probably perform or something. I feel it's not the same, definitely not, but you can kind of compare it probably in the way.
I think
you have different expectations and different form of pressure or type of pressure to being intimate, basically.
I think there is a difference, but I do agree that men, of course, also feel some sort of pressure. I do agree with that, but I also do think that the world that we live in, it can sometimes feel like as a woman you are reduced to, desirable or not, if they can fuck you or not, essentially. Especially if you're like out here in casual situations, as I was with Tall Order, or still am, who knows. I mean, we're gonna get to that point, and that's what it really boils down to. On the one hand, not putting that pressure on yourself, and then on the other hand realizing that you are allowed to spend time with anyone in whatever way you feel comfortable in, and if they kind of have this expectation that needs to be fulfilled, or else the other quality time that you spend together doesn't really mean anything, then that's more a reflection on them and not on yourself, and then you shouldn't be hanging out with them anyway.
Yeah, I can only agree with you. If you have a date and you like expect any form of intimacy, I feel it's your own expectations, something you probably have to work on, or just be aware of it.
So, obviously, as you might have heard, Tall Order and I have not met since. It's been a couple of months again.
Sadly, it's been a couple of months, because he's such a good guy and you should just meet him every day, in my opinion.
I wouldn't want to meet him every day. I like him, but I don't need to see him every day.
I mean, you can basically meet him every other day, and the next day he hangs out with me.
How about you just hang out with him independently of myself?
No, I feel like you have to be somewhat be included, to be honest. Otherwise, you would feel left out, I feel like.
Maybe. I will say a lot of the times when Sophie and Flo were like shouting for Tall Order to come over, I was sometimes neutral when inviting him out. Like, I could see him, but I also could not see him, but I would just invite him because I was like, oh, Sophie and Flo want to see him, whatever. And I also think he likes you guys, which is really nice. But yeah, so both of us have been quite busy. Schedules never really quite aligned. Stars didn't align. There have been attempts from both sides. It hasn't happened so far. I mean, where are we now? Like I said, I don't really know if we're still on, but then again, we never really were quite on because him and I, since we met, have kind of been a thing of whenever it happened, it happened.
You two also have like not really talked about in what kind of relationship you two are?
A little actually, yeah, quite superficially.
So I thought you just like see what's going to happen in the future, but...
No, I think with him and myself, the expectations are pretty clear from the conversations that we had, where I know he's quite busy. He knows that I'm not necessarily interested. I mean, especially at the time when we had the conversation, I wasn't interested in a relationship. Things have changed now, but I'm not interested in a relationship with him. I'm just not gonna date an American soldier on a serious level.
I mean, I have the feeling you are going to date any American in the near future. I just have like a feeling. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. If I were to meet them in person, yeah. Over dating apps, I don't really do it anymore. But if I meet them in person, I'm down for it. But I wouldn't want to date them seriously. So expectations have been pretty clear, and that he's quite busy. I'm especially now quite busy. It's pretty clear between the two of us that we just kind of like, when we see each other, we see each other. So it's neither off or on. It's just there.
It's just there. And I think that's totally fine, to be honest with.
I think it's really nice, actually.
Yeah, I think it's also nice because it's kind of a mutual understanding of each other.
Yeah.
You just know that you cannot really rely on him in a lot of ways. You cannot really plan with him.
Yeah.
It's very spontaneous.
For sure.
But when it works out, when it comes together, it's always a fun time and like always a good time.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that spontaneous intimacy that you can have with people without there necessarily needing to be any commitment and without there being any drama. I've always appreciated stuff like that. You will hear a lot of stories in this season especially where I really have this value system that is rooted in exploring different intimacies and distances in even just one kind of relationship. Like, I mean, all types of relationships, but when it comes to one person, I'm more than flexible to be more intimate one day, and then after a couple of months when circumstances change, I'm more willing to take a little bit of distance. And I'm not the kind of person that necessarily needs to label things, define them, that necessarily needs to say, oh, we're done, we're over, because it's not what it used to be. And because I've always appreciated this is what I really appreciate about Tall Order. And I also think that that's why he had to be included, because it really is just one of those just nicer stories of this whole phase that really shows not everything is shit. Not everyone is a himbo and a llama, if you will.
So I think it's also pretty cool to just like showcase a story that isn't such a big part of you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take so much emotional space, I would like to say.
I do think that he influenced me, I would say.
But like because there's not so much
crying over him.
So much drama.
Yeah, I wasn't
basically
crying over him.
And I think that's pretty good to also like showcase these kind of very short-term relationships, I'd say, or like whatever it is.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're not short term, is what I'm saying.
They're not short term, but they're like not that intense.
What you're trying to say is there's no commitment because
that was what I was trying to say.
Because the label short term, long term doesn't apply to commitment or non-commitment.
That's true. It's just not committed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be committed to work out and be good for both of you.
Yes, for sure. And you can still be respectful and communicate and ensure that expectations have been communicated even if there's no commitment.
Yeah. I think it's just a very well-rounded story, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So to say, like, there's no drama, clear lines, no commitment, clear boundaries, clear expectations, and it works just quite fine for both of you.
It works as it is.
And it just works as it is, and it doesn't really have to be labeled. And I think that's something very nice and beautiful to also have this kind of relationship. You know, because you hear, like, so much bad and negative things of dating apps, and
with dating casually also.
Yeah, especially like dating casually, and I think that's something really good, even though I have to admit it's quite rare.
I think so as well. I'm someone that can do it, I'd say. Obviously I do make mistakes, no questions asked, but I would say that I can hold a lot of intimacy without there needing to be a label, but I do think it's still quite rare that you find someone where it clicks enough for it to be casual and like respectful, but not enough that you want a relationship. That's a really rare combo.
We definitely have to highlight the part of being respectful to each other.
We definitely do.
You know, like we said, it's like sometimes you just don't have the headspace or the time to text someone.
Which is fine.
But it's fine to also respond to it, or saying, okay, I'm busy right now, I'm going to respond to it later or something.
I think also it's a certain sense of proactively communicating is what it is. Of like really not letting the subtext speak for itself, but actually stating what's on your mind. And that can be as simple as, hey, I've been really busy lately, but I will get back to you. Or even a, hey, I've been really busy and I'm not quite sure where I stand, but please know I'll definitely get back to you with like a clear understanding when I had a chance to think about it. Or really whatever is going on through your head. I also will say for that to work, the other person needs to be able to handle that. You can't really say that to just anyone. I try to say that to pretty much everyone when I can, because I am a quite direct person, but I do know that there are people that can't handle it, and so I just kind of not always go down that route.
I kind of feel it should be common to do this, or it should be kind of the regular case, but I feel it's so rare to even experience it yourself.
Because, so, here's my thing as someone who's dated quite a lot, and I've had so many different thoughts and feelings about different people. I think that most of my experiences in dating boil down to so and so feelings. I like them and I don't. I'm certain and I'm not. And it's never quite a yes, never quite a no. And I could imagine that a lot of people also feel that. And I think that is like where the issue lays, because it feels like you're supposed to give a definite answer when you don't have one yourself. And I think where that what then comes in is that you communicate that you don't know, but that step is really difficult. How are you supposed to tell someone, hey, I don't know really how I feel about you. I want to keep seeing you, but I don't know if I might break this off. I don't think a lot of people can handle that fine balance.
I think it's also quite difficult to just, I mean, of course I would want someone to do this to me, but I think it is also quite difficult to probably proper react to this.
It is.
When someone says, hey, I don't really know how to feel. Because at this situation, you kind of can get very insecure because you don't really know how to react to this, because you cannot tell the other person how they should feel, because they have to figure things out. I mean, it can help that you're like all aware of what is probably going on or not going on, or just the fact that the other person is like not sure about feelings or whatever, or expectations, you know. But yeah, I don't even know how I would even react to this, when I'm honest.
I think it takes a lot of emotional intelligence and being reflective. That's essentially what it boils down to. But anyway, having had that amazing detour, coming back to Tall Order. Why did I name him Tall Order?
Because he's tall.
Because he's tall. That's really what
that's
it boils
basically
down
that's
to.
basically
that's it.
The main reason.
That's it.
We got very creative out of the window with this name.
I will say at the time when we nicknamed him, that was like pretty much after the first time we hung out, and I didn't know that much about him. We had hung out the entire night, but I didn't really know that much about him. And I think one of the most distinctive things that I could remember was that he was tall and kind and cute and good looking, and he could carry me. And Tall Order just seemed very fitting. It's like a coffee order at Starbucks. Tall Order.
Tall Order.
There you go. That's
it's like
him.
Oh yeah, and when it's late at night and you want to have like a pizza at your place, you call him like an order.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's actually quite fun.
So when you're going out clubbing, you call him, he's like an order. Like a clubbing buddy or something.
Ready-made intimacy right there. But we mean this respectfully, of course.
Respectfully, of course.
None except for the highest praises for this man.
Not comparing him to a pizza or something.
Tall Order, the goat that he is. So I don't think I even need to ask this, but I will. Red flags.
Red flags. There is no really red flag about him in this story. I mean, I haven't slept with him. I can't even...
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, the sex that we had is a red flag.
No, never said... No, but, I mean, I didn't have... Just from the story, I cannot see any red flag. And maybe if I have slept with him...
You could sense I could. No, I don't think there were any. Do you think there's any red flags that I showcased, though?
No, I don't think you... I think this is the first episode where you also didn't show any red flags.
It's also just the third, but fair.
Fair, but...
There might be somewhere I showcase red flags, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We're all
I mean,
humans. We
that's
make
okay.
mistakes.
We all do different. And like we say always in the beginning, there is no bad guy in the story.
Yeah. We all do our best. We not always do right by other people, but we do our best. Well, then we should get to our last segment, my favorite, just to give a final verdict, just to
Oh my god.
concisely summarize our thoughts and feelings regarding the guy that we talked about. We shall do a kiss, marry, kill. It's just a reflection of our feelings. Flo, please say your verdict.
Oh my god, yes, of course, marry him.
Yeah,
I would marry him.
I think it's marry.
I would marry him.
I really thought about this again,
Like-
long and hard today, between kiss and marry.
Oh, you did?
I really did.
I
I
think
don't know
it's-
what marry kind of represents to me, but I think it's a marry. I think marry is like when it's really good.
When it's like good. I think
Not
I
us,
think
like,
it's not really like kill, kiss, marry. I think it's more like kill, kiss,
Marry, kiss, no.
kill.
Kiss, marry, kill. Oh, yeah,
I think it's
sorry.
just like a rating.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think marry is when it's really good.
When
and
it's just good, but obviously nobody gets married here.
No,
I mean, I feel like
obviously not.
I feel like
no,
nobody's
no,
gonna get
obviously
married
not.
here.
So
But, like-
I think marry is like when it's really good. Kiss is when it's like good enough and you're like fine with it happening again or
Yeah.
like whatever. Kiss is kind of like everything in between, and then kill is like no, never again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a marry for me. If you're not
Yes.
going to marry him,
You will.
I will.
I think I actually, so I went through, when preparing this episode, I went through the group chat, and he's, by the way, just the nickname Tall Order has been mentioned 35 times in the group chat, just FYI. Anyway, I went through the group chat looking for like messages, and I remember at one point I said, I think at this point I actually have to marry Tall Order with the way that you guys are hyping him up and
You
hating
have to.
everyone else. Again, I'm not getting into a serious committed relationship with an American soldier.
Yet.
So I'm not married. No, so I'm not marrying him. No, I will not. Been there, done that. Not doing that again. But that's a story for another time.
That's a story for another time, though.
So, any last thoughts or feelings before I wrap this up?
Tall Order is just the goat. So basically, just stay nice, stay respectful, and you will have positive reputation in the group chat.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to.
That's what it boils down
If
to.
you don't want a bad joke in a group chat that lives on forever,
Like him, bro,
Llama, then
and I mean I cannot mention more, but
many other guys that we have
Many
yet
other
to
guys.
mention, then yeah, stay tuned for future episodes of the season. But like, then just be as nice and kind as respectful, not just to the girl that you're fucking, but also to her friends. And you
the
should be
girl
good.
you're dating fucking sounds so
Yeah, I think.
disrespectful.
I
in a
mean,
way,
what
but
were we? But isn't it also? Oh, who cares? I'm gonna wrap this
Okay.
up now. Okay, so that was my thoughts and feelings regarding Tall Order. I wonder if he'll actually listen to this. Maybe. We'll see.
I mean,
Well, anyway, thank you, Flo, for being on here, and thank you for everyone for tuning in.
happy as always to be here.
And I appreciate it as always. I'm really excited for when you're back. I think it's going to be a couple of episodes, but
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. If you liked today's episode, do leave a comment or maybe share it with someone that would like it as well. Hit follow so you don't miss future episodes. There really is still so much to tell this season. Socials are linked as always. And if you want more behind the scenes stuff, I mean, sometimes I post really silly photos of Flo. In 2 weeks, Sophie will be back to discuss a guy that made me cry multiple times, even though we only went on 2 dates. So tune in for that one. And until then, go find someone in the club to take home with and then DM me the details. Bye!
Goodbye.